You could have heard this episode 48 hours early on our Patreon, patreon.com/indieheadspodcast. But joining us for as low as $1 a month, you'll receive episodes early and gain access to our Discord server. All of our upcoming episodes we put on our Patreon 48 hours before it hits our public podcast feeds. But if you're hearing this via our Patreon feed, we thank you so much for your support. We especially want to thank our Real Ones patrons, including Becca Etienne, Georgia Mikowski, James Boss, Holiday Kirk, Tyler, Marcy Anime, Chance Holdup, Delaney Mothman, Brianna Cruz, Josiah Duncan, Janelle LaFleur, Matt Cameron, Grant in the Back of My Dragula, Pablo Escobar's Hippos, Jackson Christ, Alec Felder, Jeremy Bull, JP, Matthew Taylor, Breen Hare, Drew Wharton, I Like Books, Jonathan David, Max Kapazinski, Mark Barry, Cal 50, No Woods Refused Pimped Out Dave Matthews Event, Chris Wade, Midwest Maxwell, Kevin John, Jake Wald, Eraser Baby, Rob Mariano, Max, Dylan, Zach, Gavin 490 Freak, and Maze Farms. To become a real one, consider supporting us for $5 a month on Patreon to receive a bonus episode every month and get a shout out at the top of the pod. Anyways, though, enjoy the episode. Real quick heads up about this episode. So this is recorded all the way back in, I believe, early December of 2022, so about 2 months ago. So we might be referencing some things that might be old and whatnot. Again, we record our episodes usually week to week, and sort of it's the episodes, for better or worse, end up kind of being a document of the current time that we're in. So if you hear stuff that sounds like kind of outdated, or if we're referencing we have our album of the year pods, podcast sports, all that stuff, it's because this episode was recorded all the way back in early December. So that's just a quick heads up. For anything that sounds kind of weird, didn't that already happen? Yes, it did already happen. So anyways, Best New Pod 2011 songs we cut that you guys wanted us to talk about anyways. Let's get into it.
Best New Pod.
Hello, welcome. It's Best New Podcast. We're back, baby. Going through the cuts episodes again. We're back for another one. The songs that we did not cover in our first run of the early 2010s episodes. The songs that we decided to cut. We put them all on a list and we offered them up to our lovely patrons to tell us what did we forget that was important. And honestly, with some of these, and not this episode, but the next episode especially, it's what the fuck were we doing? I mean, it goes to show that kind of 2012 and 2013 started to get really stacked, where there is a lot of stuff we could have also talked about. But this is definitely better than the last playlist. I'm much more excited to talk about these songs than the last ones. I think Rose feels the same way.
I mean, yeah. I think the clear thing is that there's just more people that we have personal connections to, because 2010 is such a weird time. There's just not it's just not very in terms of music. It's just besides a couple. Besides
yeah, the 2010. Yeah. It's such a huge gap between the 2000s artists who are kind of peaking, like Kanye West, for example, not to bring him up, but and then all of the 2010 stuff that's so embryonic and not happening yet. You know what I mean? That
it's so embryonic that Not Even Embryonic by the Flaming Lips was released.
Anyways, but this episode gets us more into the 2010s proper in a couple of ways, but still feels a little dated in certain aspects. Still feels like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
but let's just get
right
into
our first song. Maddie, what's our first? Oh, Rose, what's our first song tonight? Because I know you're super excited to talk about these guys.
Pull up the review. I want to see what they had to say about this one.
Yeah, I'm ready to pull it up really quick.
Oh,
Lord. All right. Our first song is Cut Copy, Need You Now.
Just good lord. I literally said it 30 seconds ago because we had to redo this, but it's they bake the car commercial into the music video. It's really hideous.
Yeah, this is a pretty bad video. It's ugly. It's so ugly and dated in just a really awful way, where it's it made sense for the time, but it's man, this just doesn't hold up,
And even though I don't particularly this is not one of my go-to cut copy songs of the ones I do enjoy from them, There's something about seeing this dude's face that makes me want to enjoy this music less. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they work better.
You're not wrong.
They work
You're not wrong.
better as a band when I'm not seeing them.
No, here's the thing. So, in
There's
2017...
cars. There's literally cars. It's a car commercial.
No,
There's literally
totally.
cars driving around them.
You
Get
could
the fuck out. Come on.
You could
2017,
drop
I made a
a
horrible
chord on the
mistake.
end of this, and it would be, or it could be like a Nike, a
Come
weird
on.
Nike commercial.
Yeah.
In December of 2017, I made a horrible mistake. I went to go see Cut Copy in concert. Let me tell you, I only did that because my college had a bunch of shows on a spreadsheet. Where they were like, hey, listen, if you write about this, you can get the tickets for free. I'm just like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I took it up a bunch of times. I went to go see Joyce Manor with Waves.
Oh god, yeah, no, I saw that tour too. That's
I saw a lot of
with
tours.
Waves
I was
and
just like,
Culture Abuse, two canceled bands.
it's just, oh god.
Well, I guess Waves are
different
like
ways.
not really canceled.
Yeah,
but
there needs to be
in different
there
ways.
needs to be a word for not canceled but just annoying now.
Disgrace.
No,
The
that's...
disgraced
A
waves.
bummer.
That still feels too
Yeah, like
strong.
the word.
we can just say they were burst, okay?
Like
They were
I was
burst.
trying to come up with this recently when I was talking about Nina Kravitz, who is a Russian DJ who like isn't pro Putin, but she's like annoyingly reactionary, and it's just like I don't want to call her canceled because she's not like she hasn't done anything that's like so bad that like I can't support like listening to her music occasionally, but she's just annoying,
Sketchy.
sketchy. Yeah, exactly. Like.
I feel like sketchy is a solid term.
But yeah, anyways, Cut Copy are aggressively fine. Like, even as someone who is, like, bait for this kind of music, they've never been, like, the go-to in this kind of lane. Like, I'd much rather listen to Hot Chip any day of the week than Cut Copy. Although I will say...
I mean, literally, Hot Chip literally have a better song also called Need You Now. So
100%.
it's like, come on.
I mean, it's crazy that these guys are just so aggressively committed to, like, not making an impression on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like,
Their entire...
I'm glad we kind of all feel the same way, because it just seems like this kind of music, like this kind of, like, synth pop, as just...
Oh, God.
Just because I've just listened to too much music now where, like, this just doesn't have an effect on me.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just gather an emotional response to this. Like, maybe, like, 10 years ago I would have, but, like, as of now,
No,
not
I
really.
think
no.
It's like that
fair.
video from Name Redacted where, you know, he's like, oh, I love music.
Yes.
Music is
It
the
is
music
that-
I
I mean, I was never In Ghost Colors is definitely a lot better than this. And also, their 2004 album, which is the one that they did with Philippe Zadar. I do like that one, and in general, their 2000s output is way better than their 2010s output. Like, the album that this song is the first song on, called Zonoscope, look up the album artwork for it. It's the most 2011 shit in the world. It's very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so the story from when I saw them was I was sitting outside the venue an hour early because that's what I tended to do in those days when I was like really eager to not have to wait in a line in a show. Anyway, I was sitting out there on my phone and like I could see across the street that there was clearly the band and they were like clearly trying to get me to like they're clearly like trying. They saw me waiting on their side and they were like clearly like, oh, it's a fan. Why are they looking at us? Like I could tell. And I was just like I continued to not look and they just made this like sneering laugh like, oh, I can't believe it's kids on their phone. It's just like, shut up, you're Australian, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that this got Best New Track because like there's just
You were literally cut off.
even if we want to do just like aggressively pleasant, vibey sort of synth pop stuff from 2011, like give
They're
it
so much better.
Yeah, like Poolside Do You Believe came out that year. Like stuff like that actually has like texture and brightness and like excitement to it, you know?
I mean, it's just what are we doing here?
Yeah, we don't
I know
even
I
need to
that
say
a lot,
much
but
more.
like, what are we doing here?
I would agree. Let's move on from these Australian dweebs and let's talk
Get
about
to the good stuff. There's like a whole chunk of good stuff this week. I'm actually excited.
talk about some guys that have you ever heard of this band? I think I've been meaning to get into this group.
Hey, it's their best album.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ,
God,
Rose.
no, God,
You
Rose,
think I
not even
wrote
as
me
a
knowing
joke. Come
that
on.
I put Cave Limbs as last on my thing recently. But here's the thing. We come at a meeting point. Because...
I say this legitimately. This isn't like a bit.
No,
I'm not doing this.
I actually respect. I mean, I'm a Radiohead fan. Like, I respect the take. I understand why you could like it the most, and I do like it a lot. Like, that's the thing, is that it's the worst Radiohead album to me, but we're meeting in a neutral zone of alliance here, because this is my favorite song on King of the Limbs.
The thing is, I think the only reason they picked this one as their favorite is because it sounds the least like anything else on the album.
It does. It's the most.
Like, it's very clear
it is
that
the
like
only
they chose this
song on the record that could appear on other Radiohead records, right?
They gave this best new track for the same reason they panned the album, which is just like they wanted it to sound like one thing and they got a very different thing.
It's true. Although I do think it does.
Also, the track we're talking about, by the way, is "Give Up the Ghost" by
Give Up the
Radiohead.
Ghost.
Just in case we didn't say that yet. So
It is. I think it fits decently into the vibe of the record, like with Codex and the other kind of slower songs of the record. But I do agree, it's the most like this could have been on In Rainbows, and it would have made sense.
Oh, 100%. Like, I just... this is just such a good record, and especially this one's place in the structure as a whole is just, like, so chill. Like, hang on, let me pull up the track list right now.
I famously have issues with that track list, so we can get into that if we want to.
I can tell you precisely, like, what I do like and what I do not like about it, because I have my complaints.
Yes.
So, first off, that opening run, really great. I think the only stumble is Feral in the middle, which is just like placed so awkwardly. They don't know what to do with it.
But that song is one of my favorite songs of the record. Like
It's a good one. I just don't think they know what to do with it.
I agree. I just think Feral is kind of what I want out of the record in general, more so than the weird kind of in-between zone it ends up between, like, the kind of dance music stuff that clearly Thom wants to make, and, like, I don't know. I really like this record. I think my main issue with it, as I've talked about, I think before, is just, like, it's the only record where Nigel's production sometimes doesn't rub me the right way. Like, I don't know. I just think because I like the live versions of all these songs so much, there's something about the studio recording of a lot of them that makes them feel, like, at arm's length to me in a way that Radiohead never does. And that's why I love this song so much, is that it's, like, the emotions are so much more just, like, up front as opposed to this sort of, like, very distant, which is cool. Like, I think Separator, the closer on this, is fucking incredible. Like, I love this record.
Yeah, so, like, my favorite ones on this are the ones where they really dial into, like, the classic, like, just playing off their influences most directly is when I find Radiohead most engaging, I think, as a band. Like, the moments when you can really hear the DNA that puts them together, and especially on this record where my favorites are Morning Mr. Magpie, Bloom, and Separator. Like, I think those three really play with, like, the electronic music and also, like, the Can influence that they were clearly dealing with. Like, it's the moments when they're most dialed in and they're just, like, trying to hammer into one groove really well.
Totally.
So it's like the same.
I don't really care for
I
this
get,
one.
It's like the same reason
really
why I get excited about, like, Stereolab doing, like, a really heavy guitar chord for, like, 3 minutes on their early records, because I'm just like, yeah, I know where this came from.
I'm trying to find. I have an I'm a Fix King of Limbs playlist somewhere. I also think my issue with this is just that, like, for me, there are just some songs like Morning Mr. Magpie, which is not one of my favorites personally, and then the fact that the B-sides of this record are pretty good also makes it, like, it's one of the only Radiohead records where I kind of quibble with the songs they chose to leave off versus the ones they put on.
I do think there's one really good one on the B-sides by
the Butcher is fucking crazy and absolutely should be on there. That song is so good. I also think Daily Mail is technically a B-side from this era, even though it doesn't sound like it. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, okay, it's the Daily Mail. That's the one I was thinking of. It doesn't sound anything like the rest, but, like, that's the one.
And then there's Staircase, which is also good too. Like, all the B-sides are better than, I think, what are the weakest songs on this record. And then the best songs on this record, like Lotus, Flower, and Bloom, I either like the live versions better or I like remixed versions better. Like, the Jock Green remix of Lotus Flower is one of my favorite tracks of all time. Like, the bones of the song on this record are really good. I just don't like the way that they're arranged, produced, put together on the. I get so picky with it because
Oh, those are really interesting numbers. I'm surprised Codex is like the second most streamed one.
because in the same way as Give Up the Ghost, Codex works outside the context of the record. Like it is just a piano ballad and can be put on your Radiohead piano ballads playlist in a kind of.
I love that Feral just takes like an immense dip in the numbers compared to everything else.
Feral is so weird, and I do love Feral. I also love the Lone remix of Feral, and also the remixes record is better than the regular record. I don't know. I just have more quibbles with it than ever, and recently, as we were discussing in the podcast in the office recently, I bumped Pablo Honey above it because Pablo Honey, I'm just more into that kind of '90s bullshit now, and it's a really fun record.
And also, I feel like with that first, I mean, just to add on to it, your what I also think is probably your reasoning is just sort of like with Radiohead, there wasn't like an expectation of what a Radiohead album was yet with Pablo Honey. It was just like, so it's just like you kind of going in with like, oh hey, here's just like kind of like a '90s, kind of grungy, rock band versus King of Limbs, where it's like they were just coming off of In Rainbows, and this is what they give us. Like,
yeah, and also I think it's that like. Because at the time, and this is what makes them sort of discard it when they make these other records, where it's like, now that they're so meticulous about their process and really put so much effort, it's like, they see that as, oh, we were just kind of dicking around on that record. But it's like, the very fact that they're not bogged down in the sort of expectations of, this has to be a capital R Radiohead record, like, that is why Pablo Honey is fun, because they have all these, like, anyone can play guitar style diversions, and kind of there's just like more jagged edges on that record in a way that makes it more interesting now that once you've spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours with the Radiohead canon like I have, it becomes fun then to be like, actually, you know what, I Can't is a fucking great pop rock song, and like I wish they wrote more songs like that.
Also, just gotta say, the album cover for King of Limbs sucks. Bad album cover, in my opinion.
It is in the bottom tier.
It's the font. Why is the font so fucking big?
Honestly, I like it a little bit just because it reminds me of like the same kind of bad that like most REM album covers are.
Okay, that's fair. I get your reasoning there. It's the same
flavor of bad as
that
those.
Is fair. I just was gonna say,
I see it.
And I have to say, it brings me no pleasure because the Moon-Shaped Pool is a classic. Moon-Shaped Pool cover is incredible. I think that's one of Stanley Donwood's best works, and I think it's one of the most like emotionally and thematically evocative covers of any of the Radiohead covers. That being said, Stanley Donwood fell off because in general his 2010s output, like King of Limbs cover kind of sucks. The cover for the OK Computer and Kid Amnesia reissues are either lazy or bad or both. And then the Smile...
Sorry, I'm looking at Kid Amnesia right now, and that one's killing me. It's just Kid Amnesia.
No, but then pull up the Smile album artwork. The Smile album artwork...
Oh, the Smile artwork is pretty bad.
Is the worst.
No, I'm so excited that they're making another one like immediately after this, because like it's gonna be even worse than this.
This literally has the same font problem as King of Limbs. Like, why is the font so big? If the artwork was literally just no font, you take the font away, it'd be pretty good. I like it. But with the font, it's terrible.
It's okay,
I mean, that's what I find endearing is like somebody picking a really bad font. Like, go to the REM Spotify page and see what I mean. Like, they just have this knack. Yeah. It's really like, look at Fables of the Reconstruction, especially. It's one of the ugliest.
I appreciate ugly in a way that you have endearing feelings toward, but I in general would like
Scroll down a bit.
I would like it if Radiohead went back to their that's some real Build to Spill style bad album art.
It's both versions. There's like another version on this page before. Like the one on the right side.
I was saying this in the office yesterday. Also, Radiohead.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
That's wow.
But I kind of love how bad this is. This is a bad in a way where I actually really appreciate it.
This looks like the graphic design of it. It looks like the friendship ended with blank. Now blank is my best friend. like that graphic design style.
I mean, really, it just took them years to ever get anything worthwhile.
But yeah, Radiohead need to go back to the old classic logo where it's the lowercase r in the circle. Like that logo rules.
Oh god, the up and oh my god, the up and
Up
reveal.
is one of my favorite.
Oh.
Reveal is like such a 2000 specific thing. Like I can see I can understand the era that came out in, but up is just like somebody really had to try with that one.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Like again, the only album covers here I'd be like, okay, these are like is like Murmur to an extent, but it's like okay, it's I do like Life's Rich Pageant. I think this is pretty good.
I wish the Danny Lopatin song was next up in our playlist because then I could make a up transition joke.
Well, we do have up in two.
We'll get there.
We've got up in two.
We'll get to up.
We got more Thom though. More Thom on the way though for our next show.
Yorke, what's that fella?
Segue right into it.
What's he doing?
And also the first of 2 appearances on this episode from a man by the name of Burial. This is Burial, Fortet, and Thom Yorke on Mirror, which is a great track. I would not have picked this of the split that this comes from. Like I think Ego is the better of these 2 tracks, and I also think the kind of later collabs from them are probably more interesting. Like this is just more typically Burial than the rest of these other collaborations.
It just sounds really prototypical Burial from what I've heard of him.
Yeah, I mean,
like, yeah, that's fine.
It's very untrue in the drums of it, and
look at this photo. What is this photo?
It is a great photo.
He's a funny little guy.
Look at Thom.
He's a funny little guy.
If you go again, listeners, find the Fortet Burial Thom Yorke Mirror Best New Track review, and look at that photo of Thom. Look at him.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna make that the episode art, honestly.
What's that guy doing?
I'm making this the episode
reason
art.
why I'm not over the moon on this track is just that, especially now that we've gotten several collabs from both Burial and Fortet by themselves. Oh, I love this little synth sound though. But we've gotten so many collabs from Burial and Fortet just by themselves, and also another set of collabs from Burial, Fortet, and Thom with His Revolution and Her Rope. Oh, Her Revolution, His Rope. Excuse me. I misgendered.
His motorbike,
I misgendered the Revolution and the Rope. But
freaking liberals worrying about misgendering.
I do,
the
even though
ropes
this is like maybe my second or like third or fourth favorite of the 4 tracks that these 4 guys have made together. It's so fucking good still. Like it's still really enjoyable, and I think that in general we need to appreciate the Burial Fortet collabs more. I was so excited earlier this year when Nova and Moth ended up on streaming services. Both of those, like Nova is just a better Jamie XX song than Jamie XX has ever written in his life, and I'm a big Jamie XX fan. And then Moth is just like one of the best dance tracks ever, I think, just like full stop, period, end of sentence. So like I just have a very high bar for when these guys link up, because I think that Burial and Fortet specifically complement each other's strengths and weaknesses in such a satisfying way, because like there's a little more clarity and a little more polish than like your typical kind of dusty musty Burial production, but Burial adds so many interesting emotional, textural, atmospheric elements to what Fortet does that like it's just really fucking beautiful. And the way that they manipulate Thom's vocals, like this part right here. As I'm listening to this, I'm just like, no wait, this fucking rock. What am I talking about? It's so good. I mean, what do you say? It's Burial, Fortet, Thom Yorke. They're good at this. Like, I don't think this is really, I'm not really going out on a limb here. Listen to Moth if you haven't. That song is a perfect masterpiece. Listen to the Her Revolution, His Rope split. Shout out to Burial one time in general. If you're listening to this, I'm just going to plug this because it's probably going to be out by the time that this is released. I just did an interview with Kyle Bates of Drowse, whose new album, Wane Into It, is very, very, very good. And one of the things I, of course, had to ask him about is Burial, because the first song on the record is called Untrue in Headphones. And I was like, oh, what do you... And I asked him about Untrue and Burial, and he explained why he makes the reference to it in the album, but he also says that his favorite Burial release is Rough Sleeper Truant, which is a Real Heads Burial pick if I've ever heard one. Anyone who cites one of the split singles as their favorite Burial release, that's how you know they're a real head.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the like an equivalent of that for like other artists. I feel like OPN has a couple of those where it's like, oh, you're like, if you say like, oh, my favorite OPN record or my favorite like Danny record is
Russian Mind
Ford and
or
Lopatin
whatever, yeah.
It's like, okay, you're a real head,
I think Burial more than most has this career where on one hand he has this one record that is like so totemic in its like influence, inspiration, etc. But then also after that he has all these other little smaller experiments that to the people that are like super deep in his work are like more interesting. It's kind of one of those things where it's like obviously he's got the one thing that's like his most important, but then anyone who's obsessed with that is probably then more obsessed with all the weird nooks and crannies he's explored since then, because he really has like given us every spin on the kind of Burial ethos that we could like. He has really up-tempo stuff, really ambient stuff, everything in between, like the whole Burial Tunes 2011 to 2019 compilation, even though it is kind of sacrilegious to have those songs removed from just them being each EP, because each EP is kind of its own thing, and it is weird to just toss them all into a compilation, but that compilation is fucking incredible. Like, it's just heat front to back, basically. Yeah, Burial good.
Yeah.
I like the ambient Burial stuff from this year. I'm very pro, even though some people are like, give me the drums back. It's like, we have so much drums Burial. If you want to go listen to that, like, I like that he's exploring ambient in full. But although, after 2 EPs of it, I wouldn't say no to more, but I would like something else next. Like,
yeah. Totally.
But yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts on the matter of, I mean, we're going to get back to more Burial talk later. That's part of why.
Yeah. But it's Rose time for this next song, though.
It's me time too, but I think it's Rose time in that this is another. You hadn't heard this song before, right?
No, I haven't heard this
Rose. You had not heard this before, correct?
This song?
No. Oh, sorry. I thought we
were...
Yeah,
you're getting ahead of yourself there.
We're talking about fucked up. We're talking about fucked up.
It's Rose time, referring to the song after this one.
No. Not he who shall not be named.
On that one.
No, but this is definitely Rose time.
But this one. Okay, let's just let those guitars hit first. Oh. This album has like exactly 3 tricks, and it does them over and over, but it does them all pretty well. And even then, I'm like, this is not my favorite thing from this band.
This is, of course, Fucked Up, A Little Death.
So this is off their 2011 record, David Comes to Life, which is really just like 2010, 2011 was a very specific moment, because it's where two complete dork guitar bands in conversation with each other essentially dropped these towering records back to back that people are like, oh, this is the future of guitar rock, and then everybody was like, maybe, I don't know about that.
Are you referring to who's the other band you're referring
to? I'm referring, of course, to Titus Andronicus, and then their Canadian equivalent, Thom. They're 2 different bands coming from 2 very different backgrounds, but I think they both make for very interesting stories, because they're both very Shakespearean referencing kind of groups. Like, they kind of focus on a high drama and big concepts. Like, this album, David Comes to Life, is like a 3-act story about a guy who works at a light bulb factory, falls in love with a girl. They decide to go spark a revolution together and overthrow the owners of the light bulb factory. The girl dies, and then guy just spends all his time being like, oh, I'm so sad. And like, meanwhile, there's a narrator, but it turns out the narrator is also the villain. It's just like immense nerd nonsense that you have to like read the lyric sheet to follow, and you're just like, sure dude, you do that. But like, honestly, I respect it more than I like it, and I think most of they have much better albums. Like Glass Boys, the one that follows after this one, is like, what if we did like 200 overdubs on every song? Like, you think this song is like overpowering with like how much they're stacking on top of here with the guitars? Like, the Glass Boys is just a whole album. Like, what if we go further? What if we got Dave Grohl? It's nonsense.
So I will just say, I don't think I had ever listened to a Fucked Up song before this playlist. So I was curious, because there's like a kind of guitar band that, similar to Titus Andronicus, was just around me in the ether for years, and I was just like, I don't need it. That's not a me thing. I like this more than I expected to in general. I was like, this is pretty cool, and if you're telling me this is not like the best of their stuff, it makes me interested in checking them out. The vibe I get from this song is Japan droids for people who actually listen to punk music.
Yes, I would argue that it's definitely more in line, because like this is a band that was like really built for the real heads. Like their first several years were really they're just like putting out 7-inch songs, you know, just like little 7 inches with like way quicker and dirtier production. Like they've always been this kind of anthemic, but I think they still have a lot more grit to them. Like,
absolutely, both the vocals and
Chemistry of Common Life and Hidden World, especially, are like two. If you want this, but like with a lot more grit to it.
Yeah, it seems like they're turning down the Bruce Springsteen and earnestness styles a little bit, and turning up the yelling and snottiness styles.
Yeah, to an extent, but like they are like painfully earnest in their delivery, like especially with Glass.
Definitely.
Glass Boys and the one after this, which is like. Or the one after that, which is like a pseudo sequel to this. It's called Dose of Dreams. Like that is a record which also indulges in like a concept story with the same character from this one, but like the pivotal twist of that story is that one of the main characters is called Joyce Tops, and the whole pun is just Joyce stops time. Okay.
No, but earnest wasn't the right word, because these guys are also definitely very earnest. It's more like wide-eyed, you know what I mean? Like there's something there's something optimistic about Japan droids that's not in this music.
Yeah, no, like literally one of their signature songs, the one after this record that I would say is like the one, The Other Shoe. Like I'm surprised I don't know if they gave it to The Other Shoe or not, but like The Other Shoe is like literally the entire course of that song is just we're dying on the inside over and over.
Yeah, but this is a sick song. I will listen to this record. So you would say that
I would say their best record in my opinion is Hidden World, but this is a good one to start with.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like because it starts with Let Her Rest, Queen of Hearts, Under My Nose, The Other Shoe. Like that's just a good run of songs.
Hell yeah.
They're a very interesting band. I think there's definitely a lot to be learned there from them.
Yeah.
And now we get to the guy.
And also,
yeah.
I was just excited that I could there could be a Rosecore band that I was like, hey, I don't want to make fun of this, you know? Like I feel like I'm mean to your kind of punk.
No, it's
punk
fine. It's
sometimes.
fine. I don't care. I dunk all the time.
It's true. Hey, speaking of dunking, let's get to this guy.
Oh my god, literally, like, this guy, like, the start of the series, I was, like, actively dreading every time we were gonna have to talk about him, but now I'm, like, overjoyed. I'm, like, overjoyed to see him every week.
I just want to know that YouTube is saying the following content has been identified by YouTube as inappropriate or offensive to some audiences.
Matty, hit that button and then read the top comment.
Yeah, here we go.
Or no. That wasn't it. There was one that when I opened it earlier, it was like, YouTube's literally telling you this song is so hard, it's like a content warning or whatever. Like,
Drake, tell my
Savage, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, that's what it was.
The first time I heard this one, I let out an audible groan at the intro, just like really too.
It's like Drake's been doing this for years, sampling things he has no business sampling. See, one more time, Daft Punk this year. Although I do like, because like at least with
by the way, that first song, that first line, one of the funniest intros I ever heard. I was not expecting him to just say out and out like, "I want Saudi money." Like, dude,
it's a really different time, you know, like.
Oh God.
The second line. I mean, just genuinely, every time we keep getting to Drake, I'm just more impressed at how much of an idiot this guy is.
I think Drake has got to be one of the people most responsible for, like, promoting Abu Dhabi's success guy culture, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of early 2010s, like, yeah, I'm a international millionaire in all these, and it's like, no, you're just hanging out with, like, evil people, like.
I mean, Drake is just like such a specific flavor of dork that I feel like really just fermented over the
But as
decade.
we've talked about a bunch now, I think we talked about this directly on the Over episode. We've talked about it a bunch off podcast. It is.
We have to keep talking about it.
It's fucking shocking that it's not like, oh my god, Drake used to be so cool and now he's so dorky. But it's like, there's something about...
He's always been a dork.
He's always been a dork, but it used to be that he was a dork in a way that was charming and endearing and, more importantly, fun to make fun of. Like, all of these bars are, like, corny in a way that makes you laugh, as opposed to now...
Hang on, are we coming up with the part? I want to be silent when the part comes. I don't remember where it is.
Oh, I know.
Okay, we got a ways to go. Oh, okay, we got like 6 lines, so make a count.
Yeah.
Just... It's just so... It's just magnificent how he just like keeps finding dumb ways to do this. Just... Oh my god. And this part coming up right here in like 5 seconds.
Oh, here we go.
And if the girl standing next to me got a fat then I probably give her
that line is the origin of that one tweet where it does the Drake singing voice, Drake rapping voice.
Like all of Drake singing voice, Drake rapping voice jokes are so funny because like they don't compare to the real thing where he just turns that on for 1 second just to do that.
Yeah, it's so funny that like there are so many artists before and after Drake who synthesize singing and rapping in so much more interesting ways than Drake does that actually feel like they're like, think about like Andre 3000 and some of those like 2000 songs where he's blurring that line between R&B singing and rapping in a way that genuinely feels like it's bits of both. And Drake really gets credited as being the one who like cross-pollinated the two, but he did it in the most like, he literally, it's like he had a big switch on the wall where it's like rapping Drake, singing Drake, rapping Drake. It's like he was the first person that invented this, and he literally makes this joke on Nothing Will Be the Same. Every song sound like Drake featuring Drake. You know what I mean? He was like, what if I played the rapper and the R&B singer like as two different characters within my same persona and sort of jump back and forth, and that line is the funniest version of it. Oh my god.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's just, what a gift that we keep getting this man, like, coming up so often in the early series.
We're going to talk about 6 a.m. in Toronto, right?
I think that's on the list. I'm
pretty sure it's on one of the late. Yes.
What year would that be?
It's yeah, it's on one of the later episodes. I'm pretty sure it is in. It's not loading. That is 6 years ago, so that would have been math. 2016.
Yeah.
Which I can't wait for us to get to 6 a.m. in Toronto, because that is a song in a very similar mode to this one. Also a good song. Like, that's the thing about this song is that, like, yes,
oh god, we should.
It's an incredibly corny like move to just loop the Jaipal beat and add the kind of 40 production over it, but it also does a really good job of setting the necessary mood for a Drake song. Like, as compared to like now when he's sampling one more time, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Although it literally was the you know that one meme where it's like the hello honey, hello security, like you know the two different reactions to the same thing, where it's like the overweight guy, which is kind of whatever. It's but you know
I don't see 6 a.m. in Toronto. I do see 5 a.m. in Toronto.
Oh, that's what it's called. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, 2013 we have 5 a.m. in Toronto.
He has a lot of different time in location songs, but
oh, hang on. Okay, sorry. I'm reading the fucking the track review, the Ian Cohen track review of the song. The first line, holy shit. Drake give you plenty of ammunition on Thank Me Later, flaunting a charm most accurately described by R. Jason Green as Clintonian. Which that just has so many layers to it as how true that ends up being. It's like, yep.
Yeah.
Just like Bill Clinton, Drake is allegedly a pedophile. So, you know. Allegedly. All right, I'm not saying it. Other people are saying it.
We got to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm dangerously close. I'm dangerously close to saying, is Bill Clinton a chaser out loud, and we need to move on.
Also, the Jive Hall sample I like it. It's kind of clumsy, but
That's
I
exactly
It's bad.
It is not.
it just goes to show that
It
Drake.
is not a
I
clever
think just Drake
sampling
was a
of
taste.
music, but exactly, it's a good picking the right thing at the right time, and it does, like I say, set a mood pretty well.
I mean, 2011 Drake ends up being a pretty. I mean, between like Jai Paul and obviously The Weeknd, like Drake ends up being like a pretty solid tastemaker for like a couple years.
It's
but
also
obviously,
crazy,
in
and
recent times he's
I
fallen
think
off.
probably at least two of these are pretty well deserved, but it is crazy to think that he got Best New Album 3 albums in a row and then never got it ever again.
Who?
Drake.
Drake
He
or
gets Best New Album for Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, and If You're Reading This. All 3 in a row.
Oh, really? I didn't realize he got it for Nothing Was the Same.
He did,
Shit.
yeah. First one, Take Care, was Ryan Domble. Second one was 8.6 Best New Music, Jason Green, for Nothing Was the Same.
Really? I mean, I love that. I mean, I love Nothing Was the Same, but
I do
damn,
too,
that
but,
surprises
but yeah,
me.
it is funny. Just think, I think Nothing Was the Same into If You're Reading This is kind of the peak of critical legitimacy of Drake.
That's true.
Although it's
yeah.
weird because If You're Reading This gets an 8.3 Best New Music, which is a better album than Nothing Was the Same, but also I guess I understand because it did feel more like a slight mixtape. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I could see being like, this is great, but this is clearly not like a proper album Drake, even though it ends up being probably the last
I
good
was shocked
Drake
to
record.
see that he got all of those and that he got 3 of them in a row, but then that from Take Care gets an 8.6 also, so 8.6, 8.3, 8.6, and then probably. Does he ever get an 8 or higher ever again?
Oh my god!
Let's see,
I'm sorry. I'm staring at the
views.
cover of Care Package.
I don't think so, because what
that is like butt ugly.
6.8.
Care Package is the most
More Life got a 7.8.
but which is actually I think where I would put that. That's like almost honestly exactly accurate.
More it's better than you would think it is.
Views.
It's got some of Drake's best songs.
But Care Package literally has the most like fake like placeholder art I've ever seen for a major artist.
You know what it looks like? You know those like communities for people who are making like alternate album art. It's like one of those.
100%, but like from 2007 is what it looks like. Like something someone would post on a pre Twitter like forum.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we should move on from
let's
Drake,
move on,
and we should talk about our next song, which is a banger from Ford and Lopatin. Too Much MIDI, Please Forgive Me. other things that he's worked on. Why is this not? This is terrible. His credits are not listed by project. It's just a bunch of people that he's. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Is there like an all
no,
music maybe?
No, never mind. Okay, here's. I was just looking at one album. Okay. But yeah, he works with Jock Green a lot. Like he does the mixing and mastering on the last Jock Green record. I think also his most recent EP. God, it's being so slow.
He did a lot of stuff on the new Chick 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 record.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, How to Dress Well, Alex Cameron.
He's the mixing and mastering engineer on Roped In by North Americans. It's a good record.
Oh, that's a great record.
He did a lot of production work on Natural Brown Prom Queen from this year.
Yes.
Oh, really? Nice.
He's just a guy. Like he's someone that's a name that you probably wouldn't know unless you're really into this Ford and Lopatin record.
Additional producer on Forced Witness by Alex Cameron for some reason. I swear there's like 20 producers on that record.
He only worked on this record and also Replica, but he is a huge part of the sound of Replica and has talked a lot about the work that they did on that project. But yeah, just did a bunch of interesting kind of various synthwavy stuff. He does mixing on that Bob Moses record, which is not like a great record, but is very well mixed. He works on the Kieran J. Callahan stuff. Like he's had a weird, interesting career. He works on the best How to Dress Well record, which is the Anteroom. Really, really love that one. He worked on the newest Jock Green record, which is I think a masterpiece, pretty much. Yeah, great musician. And that new Chick 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 record is really good. I finally got around to it the other day. It's very kind of all over the place, but in a way that's like impressive as opposed to feeling clunky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well then, let's move on to our next track. St. Vincent Surgeon. We talked about Cruel instead of this one. Which I think was the right Which I think is the right call. I love this song, but I do think we made the right call.
This is the deep cut of the two. You know, Cruel is more immediate. This one's like the slow burner.
Yeah, this is an excellent song. I love the song.
The Annie Clark Buyer's Regret. It's really just like every day we're just like, what happened there? Like what?
Yeah.
Every day I've struggled further to understand like what.
Although I will say, of all of the kind of arcs like Annie Clark's that we're now familiar with of the last 10 years, hers is not the variety of like, oh, there's some artists where they release a flop that makes you question, were you right to ever like them at all in the first place? You know what I mean? Like
she's done 2 of those now.
I mean, yes, but what I'm talking about is more the Chance the Rapper kind of thing, where the badness of the new one ruins the goodness of the old stuff. Whereas this, you go back to old St. Vincent stuff, and like I was never as big of a fan of hers as you, but it's like you go back to it, it's like, oh, I wasn't crazy. Like there was something here that gets lost in translation. Whereas
I just listened to it a lot.
There are some artists where like they drop an album like Chance the Rapper's Big Day that's so bad that like whatever rose-colored glasses you were able to look at their earlier work through just gets ruined because you.
Yeah, we. So here's the thing. There is a song I was thinking about removing later in the series. I will not say what it is. It was the #1 song of the year. We will be talking about it because I think it is important in the Chance the Rapper art.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to talk about it.
If I'm thinking of the same song, it's one that we unfortunately have to talk about.
Yeah. It's going to become
but back to St. Vincent.
Yes, but... this part right here.
I will agree, Rose, the... Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, really, this song, like, just every time I listen to the old Annie Clark stuff, I'm like, damn, she was really...
Yeah, I hadn't listened to the song in a while, and the way that this song progresses was 100% the Vince McMahon, speaking of canceled people, the Vince McMahon series of, oh my god, like, because, like, it starts out and I'm like, alright, this is fine, like, I like early St. Vincent, but this is whatever, and then as it keeps grooving more and more, you're just like, wait a second, this is getting hot.
Oh god,
it really does
the horns
get like better hammered.
She had ideas. She did at one point. She did, and now her ideas are, what if I was a trans woman? Wouldn't that be wacky?
I mean, it's just like it's just so deeply insulting that like she just stopped with the good songs entirely. Like,
this like. Is this the I don't know music theory. Is this key change? I guess this vocal key change The hook, it's so
I mean,
good.
it kind of
she
is
used to
a
be
bridge,
so
but
good.
this doesn't really operate in a traditional structure at all. It's very linear and kind of like krautrocky in its progression.
I mean, I still think Strange Mercy is my least favorite of like the peak era run, but like
It's definitely it's
but
not.
like
I mean,
hits
it's
on
like
there
number
are just
3.
so key that I'm just like I can't deny them at least.
I think this
Like,
is
one-
this is probably my favorite, honestly. I mean, it is a little uneven as an album, but it has the St. Vincent stuff that I connect to most as someone who wasn't as big into the self-titled as you two were.
I'm sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
looking at the number of versions of Mass Seduction right now. I'm just like,
Mass seduction, mass
we
education.
did this. We did this for so
earlier.
long. We drew that out.
Yeah,
for
that era was
so
just-
long.
It genuinely does feel
Insane.
like a 3-year stretch of time that Mass Seduction was being either rolled out or post-promoted.
I mean, quite literally was a 3 to 4 year stretch.
Literally, yeah. It's like, because when I think of that record, I think of college. Like, I was in college during that time.
Oh god!
And so, like...
Don't even get me
But
started.
like thinking about now, like the lead up to it being 2016 to 2017, and then like the entire 2 years afterward, it basically stretched from when I started college to when I graduated, practically. Like, yeah, like the Nina Kravitz,
Great song. Great song.
the Nina Kravitz Presents a remix album comes out in 2019, which is the year I graduated college, and the first single came out in like early 2017, which is like the second year. It's like insane, stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, self-titled. What a good one.
To go back a little bit, I would agree, Rose, that Strange Mercy of like when we talk about like the peak 3, which is like I would say that
Actor.
trilogy of Actor, Strange Mercy, self-titled, like Strange Mercy is probably my least favorite of the bunch, but it's still a great record. And like, God, I mean, yeah, I definitely get the buyer's remorse. I definitely do not listen to St. Vincent as much as I used to because of how bad Daddy's Home and Mass Seduction are. But man, they're still great. I mean, Actor, I'll go back to every now and then. I'm like, God, like what happened
the
here?
The thing is, like, I still keep them on my iPod, so like occasionally, like,
You should. They're great records.
Yeah, so like occasionally Prince Johnny will just pop up and I'll just start jamming out in the car. I'm just like, yeah, this is exactly what I came here for.
I guess it's just even more like sad for me, I would say, because like St. Vincent Self-Titled, that's like one of the first, like when I was getting, starting to post on Indie Heads, that was one of the first albums I got into when I joined the subreddit, and like to see the arc her career has taken in such a short amount of time.
I'm not even. I have a connection with self-titled that is so deeply sincere. I dare not utter it in a public space, and I won't. But let me tell you, it really hurts when you're just like seeing this person completely go off on another trail. You're just like, oh no, don't do this. I trusted you.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a great song. I fucking love. Again, this song really does encompass like all the things that I really love about like peak St. Vincent, just like really intricate guitar lines, just great, songwriting, just really, again, solid enough lyrical content and just fantastic singing that just grabs you emotionally. Like this is just such a nice bite-sized reason. Like, hey, if I want to introduce someone to St. Vincent, honestly, this is not a bad track to be like, hey, you should check out this track.
No, totally.
Because this might be the one that explains it all. Let's move on
more
to
accurately. Hey, why did people like St. Vincent 7 years ago? Here, let me explain.
Exactly. But let's move on to our next song. Rose, what is our next song?
All right, so next one. I want to see what the blurb for this one says. I'm really curious.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Just because, like,
our next song is "Spoon" by Boris. By the way,
Boris. Yeah, so
Also,
this one is going to require a little explaining because I feel like just saying like this is a Boris song does not sell.
It does not
properly. Like, okay, so they describe this as an infectious, upbeat swirl of shoegaze pop, littered with twinkling chimes, what sounds like a rainbow whip crack, a strange patch of children's voices, some Matty synth, and atmospheric vocals. So the thing to note about Boris is they're a very, very prolific band. Like, from the beginning of their career to this album, they released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 records from 1996 to 2011.
They put out 3 records this year.
Yeah, in this one year, like, and they all are doing different things. Like, one of them is an entry in their heavy rock series, which is every 10 years or so they put out an album that's just called Heavy Rocks, and it's just like a tribute to all the like old like Melbourne stuff they enjoy, just like all the old school heavy rock and roll music. The main thing about Boris is they are usually typically centered around being a band who makes heavy music. Like, their biggest record, Pink, is like a huge, like, really shoegaze influenced kind of noise rock and sludgy, like, I hate this term so much because I feel like it's very derogatory. It's like, people call this kind of stuff stoner metal, like, but like, it really is just such an effective piece of work. Like, a lot of Boris's early stuff, they primarily traded in like really, really heavy and slow music. Like, one of their records is just called Drone Evil because it's just like really heavy, evil sounding drones. And just every time they constantly are leaping out and trying new experiments and seeing like what you can do in terms of what a Boris song is. Like, just this year in 2022, they released 2 records, W and Heavy Rocks 3. It's just called Heavy Rocks, but I'm calling it Heavy Rocks 3 to distinguish it from Heavy Rocks 1 and 2.
Or Heavy Rocks 2022, you could also call it.
Yes, Heavy Rocks 2022 and W. W is like a weird, like, icy synth thing. Like, it's impossible to explain. It's just incredible experimental rock, and then Heavy Rocks is just another Heavy Rocks. Like, and that's the thing. They're just constantly putting out new ideas and seeing what works. And New Album is kind of the first, and well, not really the first, but like one in a vein where, especially in the early 2010s, like, they were trying to break into this kind of weird experimental pop rock stuff, and like, this is what you get. It's just like their particular take on what pop rock can be, and it's very interesting hearing it from the perspective of like people who primarily make heavy music.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, this is excellent.
It's really good.
I gotta listen to this record. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, like this is a really cool one. I think it's pretty underrated in the community.
I also love it. Like, all their albums are so funny. This album is just called New Album.
Just straight to the point. It's just, again, I love a band that's just straight like, hey,
Also
Heavy
the
Rocks.
album artwork
It's
for
a
this
song of
is,
Heavy Rockers.
gorgeous.
New album? Hey, new album.
It's like,
Was that-
the album artwork for a New Album is this gorgeous, like kind of pastel-y illustration thing.
Yeah, I like everything they make has a completely different aesthetic bent to it, which I think is so neat. Just like they fully commit to it.
Like, there's something about their music, like, you're right that so much of it is so heavy, so intense, but there's also, like, and this might be me projecting onto non-Western music in a whatever way, but like, there's something that is like joyously free of the kind of self-seriousness of American heavy music. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something.
Oh, no. Yeah, like I so from speaking from personal experience of like having like specifically just carved myself into J-rock for the last few months, I think that legit, I don't know what the situation is with like, you know, press there compared to here, but like it does feel like at times like people are just a lot less burdened to like make something out of it so much as just make the music good. Which
100%.
It's like so free, just like making a set of songs and like calling it like, hey, this is our album, this is Pink, this is, you know, our 10-song record, which fulfills this particular niche that we're going for.
Exactly. Like, it is so creatively, like, and
especially with bands like this in like niche and experimental scenes, like you see with like, you know, like Boris and like Merzbow, like all the experimental types down there, they'll just put out dozens of records a year because that's just what they can do. Like Boris this year literally put out like in 2022 they put out like 3 full-length records and a ton of EPs because they can just keep doing that.
Yeah, it's very it's become a cliche at this point for a variety of reasons. Like, now Boris is the band that sort of sets the cliche of, oh, this metal album's not your average metal album. This one's got a pink cover on it. I
feel like it's kind of the prototype for the reception. Like, you know, like a lot of people like this rag on like a specific type of like, oh, it's metal for people who don't like metal, but the truth is it's more of just a good gateway.
No, exactly. Like, that's exactly.
I think in modern times it's a lot harder to get into like these sort of aesthetic niches without really having a meaningful gateway record to do that. And I think Pink is like one of the best examples of that, of like really getting into like sludgy and noisy stuff. Like if you want a record that just throws you in deep and lets you understand it, that is like the way to do it, because like it's just having a good time.
Yeah, and yeah, like you're saying, it is so free of that kind of gatekeepy American metal mindset of like, oh, that's not real metal because it's incorporating these things that are like, and it's that kind of cordoned off nature just has such a way of driving people away. It's the reason why people don't like getting into these sorts of things, is because like, oh, you've got to follow these certain rules, and they just seem so. Not even that they're like,
well, yeah, that's
not
the
even
thing. Boris is like the try anything attitude, which I think makes them like a great entryway band.
They're not purposefully like trying to zig against the current. It just genuinely feels like to them they're like, well, why wouldn't we do this? You know what I mean? Like that's what makes it exciting.
No, exactly. Like, and that's what I find interesting is they're always chasing a creative muse, even if like people, even if their audience really hates it. Like for several years, there's a stretch where everyone's just like, oh my god, please, you guys make a good album again. Like, but like even then, like, you know, they're still doing like 3 different things a year, so like even if you don't like one thing, you're gonna like something else. Like this year alone, like Heavy Rocks 2022 is like not quite my thing compared to Heavy Rocks 2011 or Heavy Rocks 2002, but like W is like as cool as I've ever heard them. Like it's doing something genuinely unique.
Also, one of the best, I did a thread of this on Twitter yesterday, but one of the best album covers of 2022 is the Boris W cover. There's like eel looking things. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It looks like eels. It looks like eels in tubes of ice.
But also shout out to Wada, who is just like one of the coolest people. Just like an end sentence period, just like one of the single, just like coolest.
Oh, I need to find their Twitter specifically just to like look at this one post from a few months ago that was making me laugh. Just, it's so good. It's, oh my god.
Well then,
really, Matty, just to as we move on,
yeah,
I want to just read a list of a bunch of the Boris album titles so we can just really hammer in the kind of straightforwardness. So you've got Amplifier Worship, Flood, Heavy Rocks, The Thing Which Solomon Overlooked, Drone Evil, Pink, Vain, Smile, New Album, Heavy Rocks, Attention Please, Noise, Urban Dance, Warpath, Asia, Love and Evil, then No, and then W, and then Heavy Rocks again.
I mean, it's really just so important that this band title 3 albums the exact same thing.
Or they also have an album that's just called Noise. So great.
Yeah. Well then, let's move on to our next song. Jackie, what is our next track?
Oh yeah,
our next track on the list is a long one but a good one. It's Massive Attack versus Burial, Paradise Circus. This is one where I'm simultaneously... It's very similar to the other one, which is annoying. It's like, I'm simultaneously thrilled that we get to talk about this, but also I would have picked the other of the Massive Attack vs. Burial 12-minute long songs, which is the Massive Attack vs. Burial 4 Walls. But both of these are... And I wish we had Lily on this episode to talk about these, because I know that Lily was the one that when I was first becoming friends with her, she was like, have you heard the Massive Attack vs. Burial remixes? And I was like, no. And she was like, run, don't walk. You've got to listen to them. And she was right. They're so fucking good. This is really the kind of template that he then sets for like the kind of more ambient stuff he does for the next decade in a very, very exciting way. And also, you've got fucking Massive Attack, Hope Sandoval vocals, just like... This song and 4 Walls together is just like as blissful as like a 25 minutes of music gets. It's so sad and dreamy and just like everything I want out of music. I fucking love this shit so much. It's really great.
I don't get it, but it's not my thing to get.
It's not my thing.
I don't know. I'm not the
Are you a big
person.
trip hop guy in general, Matty?
Not really. I mean, you know, aside from like some of the like, I mean, I like some Portishead obviously as we've discussed, but like I haven't dove deep and like.
It is interesting.
I don't hate it.
I saw someone recently.
I like trip hop. I just don't like this.
That's fair. I in general, it's very interesting because someone said this on Twitter recently where they were talking about what's the best and worst genre, not in terms of how much you like the whole thing, but in terms of like the average quality of things that's tagged with that sort of thing. And someone suggested trip hop as the worst genre, which at first I was like, what? But then they made a good point, which is just that like really good trip hop and stuff like this is like amazing, and then bad trip hop is so bad and mediocre trip hop is also pretty bad, you know what I mean? Like for every Massive Attack Portishead like kind of totemic record, there's a lot of kind of mediocre stuff out there that but like when it is hitting for me, and Massive Attack's Mezzanine is one of my favorite albums of all time, Portishead's Road, one of my favorite albums of all time, like it can be really cool. And I love that specifically this sets the template really for the second set of Thom Yorke Burial Fortet collaborations, because this beat sounds a lot like the beat for His Rope, I think is the one that it sounds like. But I love how like it's shuffling so slowly that it doesn't really feel propulsive at all, but it also just keeps chugging along like this like slow moving train. I don't know. I find it just like you just gotta smoke weed and vibe out to it, and eventually maybe you will get it, or maybe you won't. I don't know. Like I don't really, with Burial's music especially, like it is something so hard to put into words without sounding like a dork, you know? Like you just have to lean on all the cliche words like ephemeral, or you have to use the even worse kind of artsy fartsy words like hauntology or whatever. Like there's no way to talk about this without sounding like a dork, but which is why I just recommend go listen to it and vibe out and see what you think of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Hope Sandoval. I've gotten more into Mazzy Star now, but Massive Attack was my introduction to her voice, and her couple of collaborations with Massive Attack are like just some of the best music of all time. IMO, just like top tier. Yeah.
Oh, so I see that's who's on this song.
Yeah, this is Hope Sandoval of Mazzy Star.
Okay, I see. All right. Well then, let's just move on. You get it's a 12-minute long song.
Yes. No, I was not expecting you to play the whole thing. Listeners, you probably got some of the gist.
Yeah, this next one though, this is again, I have not really heard a lot of the early work of this artist, and I was like, oh, okay. But our next song is Charli XCX's Nuclear Seasons. And so when I'm not as prepared going into this episode as compared to Rose or Jackie, just because I had to edit a podcast last night. So when I heard this for the first time earlier today, I was like, wait a second, this is just Magdalena Bay. Like this is just literally just Magdalena Bay.
100%.
Like I completely get why she shifted, to the more PC music type sound. Like and I get why people think that's better. Because it generally is better, but I like this one. I enjoyed this one.
I like it too.
I don't know.
I'm just you're exactly right. In the same way with Magdalena Bay, where like some people really don't like that record, and I'm not crazy about it, but it just hits certain kind of like monkey brain pleasure buttons for me. This does the same thing. I do like this song, but Matty, I highly recommend, and I was talking about this a little in the chat. Early Charli X is super duper fascinating in a way that I really didn't appreciate until I listened to people like Eric from Endless Scroll who have more of a kind of relationship with Charli, but also just like a pop music sort of brain where like a lot of the fun with pop music, and this is part of why people latched onto her early, is like it's not even about all the songs you love as much as it is the ups and downs of all the cringe that gets posted along the way. You know what I mean? Like that's something I've really grown to appreciate with like kind of pop fandom. And I think Charli is one of the most fascinating people in that respect, because like when we think about early Charli, pre number one Angel Charli, basically, we think about I Don't Care and like Fancy and fucking Boom Clap, you know what I mean? And like that that paints like kind of like one picture of quote unquote what Charli XCX is. But then when you listen to all of Sucker and all of True Romance, it is fascinating how much shit she's throwing at the wall that doesn't end up sticking in the long term. And like from the very beginning, how kind of campy and bad some of it was, but in a way that from the very beginning felt like, I understand why people latched onto her immediately, because I think for people that have this kind of relationship with pop music, it's so exciting to see someone doing things that are like in bad taste in a way that feels deliberate and kind of fun. Like I was talking with Rose about, I freaking London Bridge, I think is the name of it. Or is it some? But no, yeah, that song is just like hilarious. That song from Sucker, it's hilarious. But like, there's just
London
a lot.
Queen.
London Queen is the name of it, which has the lyrics. When I'm driving on the wrong side of the road, I feel like JFK, you know.
Oh my god.
Matty, can you pull? Matty, while we're just thinking about, did you listen to it when I sent it in the chat? Please pull it up.
No,
right now.
I
want to get your live.
I got a chance.
It's really bad.
I want to get your live reaction to London Queen, because
Okay.
the way I described it on Twitter, and I honestly was like, I don't even want. It's from Sucker, but the way I described it on Twitter is like, what if Aqua from Barbie Girl fame did a song with Idols? It's literally like one of the first attempts of like very kind of slick, like classic punk revival, but also sounds like it could be on the fucking like Josie and the Pussycats like fake music soundtrack.
Oh my
I
god.
said it earlier, but this would really sound. This would kill soundtracking a Bratz commercial. No, it's.
You could turn up the distortion on this really loud, and it would become an 100 gex song.
I mean, have you heard that latest EP?
It's good. I love the new
I
Gex
haven't heard
EP.
the EP yet. I need to.
Oh yeah, it's good. I'm as someone who saw them on Halloween of 2021, I believe. I'm excited for that new one. I think they're really gonna crush it.
This is I get your description, Jackie. This is you got it down to a T.
The cheerleader clap for JFK is just hysterical to me. This song is so fucking funny.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, like she's always been genuinely creatively interesting, even though from the very beginning it's a lot of like you take a lot of shots, and you know, you push boundaries and sometimes you miss, in the immortal words of Shane Gillis.
Yeah, I get why she kind of like, she puts out this record and just like wants to immediately like get away from that sound. Like completely understand why when she made the pivot she made on like Vroom Vroom.
Like complimented by the fact that like her biggest songs are all in this kind of very like boom clap, I don't care sort of mode, and she's just sort of like, no, I need to be cool, basically.
Exactly.
She very easily. I mean, she was already always much more creatively interesting, but like there's a world where she just ends up stuck in Meghan Trainor land forever, and she was able to break out of that very successfully. But
yeah, I don't think she would be remembered as fondly if she kept doing what she was doing with this.
But then even before
song.
Sucker, which is kind of the predecessor to like kind of Crash era Charli, now this is like very garish, over the top, campy. Is it social commentary? Like Nuclear Seasons is much more kind of dark wave. Like it feels the most like of its current moment of any of Charli's stuff. Like True Romance in general feels like a 2012 pop record, in that there's a lot of like Ellie Gould-ish, like kind of just Churches-ish synth pop stuff that isn't quite as bold as we sort of have come to know Charli now, but it is still like pretty decent. Like,
yeah, I mean, if anything, I won't say this gives me. I feel like I have a little more appreciation for Crash in some ways, because it does feel like her trying to kind of find a way to kind of return to this kind of early sound of hers, but you know, with the wisdom that she has now of like, okay, like there's definitely some stuff on Crash that does sound kind of close to this.
Yeah, although I am, the one thing I did not like about this is like, this music video is not bad, but like this music video,
it's very of the time.
This music video
it's
and
very...
the song and the similarity to Magdalena Bay did have me feeling a little Joker-fied of like, so Magdalena Bay is like, oh, we're gonna do this like glitzy synth pop that throws it back to these Y2K sounds. It's like, we've been doing this for 10 years. Like, we were doing this 10 years ago. Like the kind of VHS-y aesthetics and the bright colors and the, like, it's like, I like Magdalena Bay, but it's like, Jesus Christ, are we in a fucking feedback loop of nostalgia? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I enjoyed this track. I guess I gotta listen. I hear. I mean, True Romance has its fans, so I feel like I should
more so
probably
than
keep
Sucker,
that record.
I would say.
Yeah. But yeah, there we go. God, how old was she when this comes out? This is 2011.
Pretty fucking
so
young, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I know she's only like 31 at this point. Like right now. Let me see. 1992. So yeah, she was only like 20. Yeah, wait, no, 1992, 2011. Yeah, she was only 19. Damn.
Yeah,
All right.
which also makes a lot of the early stuff make sense in the context of a literal teenager, young adult, like just fucking trying some stuff, trying to figure out, and because she's like, especially because she is so savvy about branding, about like positioning herself as a pop star in that sort of way. It's really fascinating to watch her as a young person sort of be like, am I this? Am I that? Do people buy me as this? Sort of
Absolutely,
like that kind of stuff.
But yeah, there we are. Again, a pretty good playlist, honestly. There's a lot of stuff here I liked.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
more enjoyable
some
than
stuff
some of the actual tracks playlists we did, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so next, whenever we feel like it, we'll be looking at some cuts from 2012 as voted on by you, the fans. And honestly, looking at that playlist, it's a pretty damn good playlist. There's 2012. There's a lot of heaters. There's a lot. I think like 2010, it was pretty easy to figure out the cuts for 2010. 2011, a little easier, but definitely like that's where it gets difficult. And then 2012 was just like, I do remember being like, fuck, like what do we cut here? Like,
yeah, 2012
all...
is the watershed year of the first half of the 2010s, I would say.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad we cut all the playlists together already.
Which is funny because I kind of feel the same way about 2022 right now. To tee up some of our end of year coverage, really fucking good year for music.
Yeah,
but that was kind of artificially created too, because it really is like the sort of pandemic stoppage that just sort of got cleared up, and then a bajillion records came out this year.
Absolutely. But yeah, that is it. We will see you all next week. Anything you guys want to say before we call it here?
Not much. Tune in for Best New Pod next week. Tune in to Main Feed next week for a very special, and I mean that I mean that in the in the sitcom show a sense, a very special episode of the Indie Heads podcast.
Oh my god! Yeah,
But we have some good episodes coming up. We've got that. We've got we're going to do one more episode of Cuts for Best New Podcast, and then we're going to do the first of 3 Should Have Beens playlists, which are the 3 hosts of Best New Podcast each picked songs that we thought should have received Best New Track from Pitchfork, and the only rule was it cannot be an album that either received Best New Album or received Best New Track for a different song on the record. So you can't say like, oh, I wish they had given Best New Track to this song instead of that song. It has to be something that they did not award with one of the Best New accolades in one way or another. So I have done the first playlist, and then we're going to do Matty and then Rose as we go through the rest of these years. But it's going to be a very fun episode. We're going to get into some very Jackie Core specific songs. Some stuff that's more personal and some stuff that's like, how the fuck did Pitchfork not recognize this artist or song? But we will get to that in a couple of weeks. But yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.